Nice to finally get back to Melbourne.
Yeah, it is nice to be home. Been a bit stiff with flights, haven't we? But it was a pretty cruisy day yesterday, and it's good to be back.
Doesn't hamper the recovery at all.
Nah, nothing like that. We were just sitting around. I would have been at home on the couch anyway, so it's all fine.
Just take us through exactly what happened yesterday when you jumped on the flight.
Well, we got in the flight, and then I didn't really know what happened. About half an hour in, we started turning around, and we headed back to Brisbane. They just sort of said, I think a bit of fuel was coming out or something like that. I'm not really sure exact details. So we got to Brisbane, sat around for a couple of hours, and just came home. So it wasn't too bad.
Overall, must have been a bit of just a relief to get out of that game on the weekend.
Yeah, it was. It was. Well, Gold Coast were fantastic. They really had a good crack, and it was a tough game, so it was good to get over the line.
Just another soft tissue injury with Courtney Dempsey. Is this getting a bit of a concern amongst the playing group? So many players in the last 10 days, 14 days have gone down with soft tissue problems.
Oh no, they're all pretty minor. I think that Demps is. I'm not really sure exact details with Demps, but he seems pretty good, and I hopefully have him back soon. Well, not really. They're all pretty minor, and it's early on in the season, so we're being a little bit cautious, I suppose. But it's not a worry.
People are sort of linking it to the big pre-season that you've had a lot of emphasis on weights. Is there a link between the two?
Well, you'd have to speak to the fitness guys about that. I'm not a scientist, but I'm not really sure. You'd have to ask Web, but and possibly, maybe. But I think you need a bit of luck in footy, and we haven't really had that, so it's been a bit stiff.
Everyone talks about one game at a time, but I suppose with Carlton and Collingwood within 4 days of each other, do you have to sort of think about this as a bit of a block and start recovering, preparing now for both?
Oh yeah, definitely. We've got two of the best teams in space of, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, so it's a pretty quick turnaround. So yeah, we've had massive emphasis on recovery and things like that. So we've got to try and get our bodies right for the big couple of days.
Has it been spoken about potentially, chopping and changing a few players around for both the Carlton and Collingwood games to make sure that you've got the fittest and freshest side out there for both games, I suppose?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be hard for the 22 to play 2 games in 5 days. So I think there's going to be a few changes, and I think that's footy. It happens every week. You have different guys playing, so I think there may be a possible change.
A bit harder, I suppose, too, though, with the injuries that you've had. It makes it a little bit harder to chop and change as many as probably you would have liked.
Yeah, it does make it a bit tougher, but you work with that and you work with what you got.
How do you feel you're playing at team-wise? Do you feel like you're in form, or how do you rate your form?
No, I don't think we're playing super football at the moment. I think that there still is a lot of improvement, and I think we've just been lucky to, I suppose, get away with a couple of wins, which is always nice. And I think if we can play the way we want to play, then we'll start playing a lot better footy.
What's it take to play that extra footy that you want to play, or play like you want to play?
I suppose it's just the consistency with the structures and the setups, and just getting the small things right. I think we've sort of drifted away from that at times during games. It's really cost us. So if we can get the little things right, we'll definitely improve.
Being 3-0 flatter your form at the moment, do you think?
Yeah, I think it does a touch, but which is always nice to be 3-0. But it's 2 big weeks coming up, so we'll see how we go.
The last couple of times you've played Carlton, they've really blown you away. As you mentioned, the form's probably not great at the moment. So what gives you the confidence you can match them this week, given their form's really good?
I suppose that it's always nice to play the best teams on the big stage, and I think you do live for those games. So I think that we'll have a light week on the track this week, and then really focus our energy onto Carlton on Saturday afternoon, and put a few things in place that can hopefully help us beat them.
A few of the guys have spoken about during the pre-season about being stung by that qualifying final loss or elimination final loss. Is there a bit of a sense of wanting to atone for that a little bit on the weekend against Carlton?
Oh yeah, definitely. No one likes losing in that way, and I think we'll try and rectify that as much as we can, and play some good footy on Saturday.